And now, of course, the UN General Assembly, well, it's approved the Palestinian bid for full membership with 143 votes in favor, 9 against, and 25 abstentions. Poland was among those who voted in favor.
That's right. Well, meanwhile, just like I said a second ago, the Israeli ambassador to Poland harshly criticized Poland's support of the resolution, claiming it benefits Hamas and Iran. Livne also called the vote wrong and harmful. Now, joining us to discuss what this means for Polish-Israeli relations is Karolina Wójcicka, Israel and Palestine correspondent from the Dziennik Gazeta Prawna. Good afternoon and welcome to TVP World.
Hi. Good afternoon.
So now, what's your take on these words that were said by the Israeli ambassador here to Poland? We just had Amir Whiteman on before, and he said that it looks like, well, the whole situation is being a little bit blown out of proportion. We just have a professional, well, who maybe didn't act as professional as he should have. What's your take on it?
Well, I think the words by the ambassador in Poland were very much expected. It's the narrative of the Israeli government, basically, to portray every move in favor of the Palestinian people or against certain policies of the Israeli government as anti-Semitic or anti-Western. Meanwhile, it's definitely not either anti-Semitic or anti-Western. We just voted for enhancing Palestinian position on the international arena. So I think those words are exaggerated. They not necessarily show how Poland perceives Israel, because we are very much in favor of Israel. We are Israeli allies. And yeah, it's also definitely not anti-Western. We sort of some other countries in the European Union, like Czechia or Germany, either abstained or voted against. But it still doesn't mean that we want to harm Israeli position on the international arena or in the United Nations. We were among over 140 countries that also voted in favor. So it's just how it works right now. People are trying to enhance Palestinian position abroad.
Right. Now, what about the backlash that we're seeing here from, all sides of the Polish political spectrum? Do you think that Ambassador Livne is totally kind of going beyond what he should be saying as ambassador? Of course, we remember the reaction and the harsh criticism that the ambassador faced after the World Central Kitchen attack on that convoy. And now, it seems like he's in the crosshairs again. Is that justified? Should the ambassador not have commented perhaps the way he did on social media?
Well, of course, it's way too much. It shouldn't have been said. But we have to remember that's how the Israeli diplomacy works. Currently, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Israel is Israel Katz. This is a politician who years ago said that Polish people suckle anti-Semitism with their mother's milk. That's way too much, but that's how Israeli diplomacy work. They often talk about things in a very harsh way that is exaggerated. And I think we should learn as Poles and everyone in the West how to deal with it, because it's just unacceptable. And what we saw a month ago with the World Central Kitchen attack, how the ambassador didn't want to apologize for the killing of Polish citizen Damian Sobol, that sort of shows us how it works, and that's why it's predictable that he talks in this way.
And now I have a question regarding this vote, which took place on Friday, which of course Poland supported. How is it being commented in Israel?
Well, people in Israel are preoccupied with the Rafah invasion. They are protesting currently against going into Rafah, starting a full-scale invasion on Rafah. Not necessarily because they support Palestinian people, but mostly because they are afraid of the hostages and their lives. So the topic of the UN voting wasn't that much commented in Israel. Some people condemned what happened, but also I think Israeli society became used to the fact that the world is becoming more aware of the situation on the ground, that the world becomes more and more pro-Palestinian. Doesn't mean that they become anti-Israeli. So when they saw it, when they saw the result of the voting, they just thought that that's where the world goes, and that was the big topic here in Israel. The topic right now is the Israeli invasion on Rafah.
Right now, going back to the Polish-Israeli bilateral relations and this relationship, based on what we're seeing right now, what do you think is the proper response of Poland? Should they summon the ambassador? Should the ambassador be recalled, or is this just really something that is being blown up, maybe in the media a little bit more than it should be? What are your thoughts?
Well, the ambassador of Israel was summoned to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs last month when Damian Sobol was killed in the Gaza Strip by Israeli Defense Forces, and it didn't change anything. The situation is still the same. The ambassador will continue.
Well, didn't the ambassador go to the foreign ministry with an apology last time? If I'm not mistaken, when he was summoned, he finally issued a sincere apology.
He didn't apologize publicly. He did it inside the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so the Polish citizens didn't hear that apology. But what I think, if we summon the ambassador one more time, I don't think that will change the situation. I think the best way is to try to promote the counter narrative that Polish citizens are not anti-Israeli, are not anti-Semitic, and somehow manage our way with how to talk with Israeli counterparts.
And Karolina, I'd want to go back now a second to the question you gave me to the previous answer. You said something like this, that more and more people are becoming pro-Palestinian, yet that doesn't mean that they become more anti-Israeli. What does that mean for the future when it comes to Palestinian-Israeli relations?
Well, being here in Israel and Palestine, what I see is the one-state solution, basically. There are, obviously, the world's attention is more focused right now on the Gaza Strip, but here in the West Bank, you can see that the settler violence is rising, etc., etc. There's more outposts of Israeli settlers on the Palestinian land. So the reality is becoming more as a one-state solution. We obviously have a very right-wing government here in Israel, with small chances of changing that in the nearest future. So unfortunately, what I think is that in the nearest future, we will not see a Palestinian state, even though there are some moves abroad to promote a two-state solution right now in the light of the brutal Gaza war.
All right, well, Karolina Wójcicka, Israel and Palestine correspondent, Dziennik Gazeta Prawna, thank you very much for joining us today and discussing this issue.
Thank you.